Okay, can everybody see a slide? Yeah,
Yeah.
great. Okay, let me just get rid of you lot that are blocking my screen. Okay, thanks. So here's a little contextual preamble to the project. So Knowsley is the second most deprived borough in the country and faces a range of welfare, education and health challenges for people living there, which has been made worse by the recent pandemic. And given the apparent insurmountable problems facing Knowsley, the Borough Council has made a brave and possibly questionable decision that part of the solution will be William Shakespeare. So the Shakespeare North Playhouse will be opened next year in the town of Prescot at the heart of the borough and a key part of its economic growth plan. I'm collaborating with local community artists, Imaginarium Theatre Company, and working as a writer with the company for the third time. Our project, Strange Tale, will create a large-scale performance involving over 100 of the local community as part of the opening season in October 2022. Please come and see it, is my message. Strange Tale aims to create an initial sense of belonging and ownership and understanding of the new theatre in their midst. It's something of a community land grab. So our performance explores the story behind the playhouse and rationale put forward for it being built in terms of local connections to Elizabethan theatrical activity and Shakespeare's possible connections to the Northwest. This strange tale will weave in and out of the community's own strange tales, material generated through interviews, creative tasks, and workshop activities. So how does this project address social change? In direct contrast to the challenges facing the borough, 2 miles from the centre of Prescot lies Knowsley Hall, home of the 19th Earl of Derby. The Earls of Derby have held influence and political power in the Northwest for over 500 years through hereditary privilege. Historically, this Stanley family, the Derbys, hosted players at Knowsley Hall and were patrons of prominent acting companies of influence. It is amongst this patronised activity that conjecture regarding Shakespeare can be found, bringing the cultural capital of the bard to the table of noble credentials. And of course, over 400 years later, the current 19th Earl of Derby, Eton-educated multimillionaire and president of the Liverpool Chamber of Commerce, is also honorary patron of the Shakespeare North Playhouse, or as the Stanley family motto says, sans changer, never change. So we also are told that Prescot in 1592 was a poor town of only 400 people, a significant number of whom suffered deprivation and relied upon neighbours for support. So we might conclude that in terms of social change in certain ways, nothing has really changed in over 400 years, and we might wish this to be highlighted. So there are challenges and tensions to be addressed within this narrative and our project. For example, the architects decided the Playhouse Auditorium should be a replica of Charles I's 17th century private royal theatre space. For our performance, we have requested taking out the replica royal theatre features and using the space as a more democratic cockpit in the round theatre and implied communal space. The 17th century Prescot town culture included a mysterious playhouse under the Barbers on Eccleston Street currently, annual festivals, cockpits, sports, gaming, dancing, and travelling players. Also rituals, festivities, and a variety of performance modes were able to continue here at a distance from the grip of puritanical Westminster. So we find a community expressing itself through performance, telling its own tales in its own way. An important point for our project is a culture of the people already existed then outside of the privileges of Knowsley Hall and already exists now prior to the Shakespeare North Playhouse. For our project, the objective is not to tell personal stories, but stories laced with grains of truth from the lives of the community, targeted at education and community groups because they deserve to know something of why this playhouse now dominates their town's skyline. Participants generate content offer opinion on written lines and authenticity of representation. In this way, through ongoing dialogue, checking in with local voices, we can be telling stories that at least intersect in some way with the culture of the local co-creator communities. It has to ring true. What is evolving through this process is a highly energetic, time-traveling adventure laced with humor, music, song, local and popular cultural references concerning Shakespeare himself suddenly appearing in contemporary Prescot, and the locals are uncertain what to do with him or why he's there, rather like the playhouse itself. Just like the 17th century Prescot, a range of local activities and performance modes being undertaken by the community indicates the new playhouse is only one part of a bigger picture. There is the potential to scar the existing cultural fabric of the town if the presence of this bolt-on edifice is not handled with care and has the potential to mean no more to the populace than the stately home of Knowsley Hall on their doorstep. Our project is important now in 2021 because in relation to a socially engaged arts agenda, the Shakespeare North Playhouse opens at the heart of deprivation, and our project, we hope, will help it to answer the right questions. Thank you.